Hi there, welcome back. I know this has been quite a while. This one's taken longer than usual, but it's finally done. And I just want to show you the final result, which I must say, again, is very, very pleasing and actually worked out probably a bit better than I expected. But here's the overall view. It's a more modern looking cabinet. The color of the wood was maintained. This cabinet was actually sanded down to the wood because it had some pretty deep scratches on it. So I decided to sand it down all the way to the wood and then start again. So I decided to actually leave it in its natural color. This wood was pretty nice color to start off with. So I didn't darken it at all. I just left it natural color, sanded it down, gave it some clear varnish, and then did all the sanding and more varnish in between as I usually do. And the result is great. As you can see, there was a patch at the back there that had to be replaced, and the color wasn't perfectly matched, but that's fine. That's just, this is not a new radio. We don't expect to see it as if it came out of the factory. It does have its age to go with it, and it's quite a respectable age, so I'm happy to have got it to the state that it's in now. And it plays beautifully, which I'll show you in a minute. Just a bit of detail. As you remember, the one knob was cracked here, and that's been camouflaged with, as I said, I used some putty and then painted in the color. The other knobs were in perfect condition, as was the faceplate. These panels here at the bottom, which are now brass, were actually painted, and I got it down to the brass and left it in natural brass once again with some clear varnish on it to protect it. And if you recall, the little indicator elastic in there had been snapped. And thanks to one of the viewers, I got a new batch of it. Probably a hell of a lot more than I needed, but thanks very much. And it's back to its usual function once again. So I'm going to give you a bit of a demo here on the reception of this radio, which, as I said, is pretty remarkable. And we'll start with FM. I'm using the internal antenna, the one that's the dipole that's inside the cabinet, which plugs in the back there. And if you can see, the magic eye is functioning perfectly. Let's give it some volume.
Uma decisão final. O presidente do governo da Catalunha acaba de publicar na internet link onde as pessoas podem ficar a saber onde votar.
Mas o Fernão Lopes digamos, é do tempo do rei Dom Duarte.
Estão dispostos a dialogar com os independentes.
Pago pelo trabalho noturno ou trabalho extraordinário, para assegurar o direito à progressão nas carreiras.
Pelo menos da regência de Dom Pedro, não é?
O Fernão Lopes escreve sobre o tempo do pai deles, sobre o Dom João I.
São mais de 6 milhões de euros. Seja possível realizar o referendo.
This thing's got some really serious bass, probably a bit too much actually. So you really do have to keep this the bass control pretty low down, otherwise it gets a bit boomy.
Adquirida e uma
Tranquilidade, estabilidade.
Now these were all, this whole reception is on the internal antenna, the internal FM dipole. Some of these stations you'll notice there's a little bit of crackling. If you put on an external antenna, that goes away completely. That's more to do with where I'm located than anything else. And I must admit, other than, as I said, the bass is probably a little too bassy. And you'll notice...
Não correu nada mal. Vamos falar da Airbnb. Curiosamente, estava aqui a espreitar. Só apareceu em 2008.
I don't know if you can really hear that on the video, but it does get a bit boomy. So you have to bring the bass down a bit. And it's got the stereo and non-stereo button, which is really a simulated stereo as I described in the preceding videos. But let's see if you can hear the difference.
87 milhões de euros que os hóspedes desta plataforma deixaram nos restaurantes de Lisboa.
This is without stereo.
2017 é o que está num relatório que acaba de ser divulgado. Susana Madureira Martins, é um aumento de quase 80 milhões de euros em relação ao ano passado.
And the effect here, at least in person, is pretty dramatic. You hear the sound coming out the sides, less sound except the bass coming out the middle when you activate the stereo, which is exactly what it's supposed to do. Then you've also got the 3 presets. At the moment it's in jazz, there's orchestra, and there's this selector which allows these two, which is the sort of mid-range low, mid-range high, to become active. Let me show you that.
Esse tópico que é estudado neste relatório, os hóspedes da Airbnb consumiram 187 milhões de euros e registra-se esse aumento de 79 milhões em relação aos gastos do ano passado, que se ficaram pelos...
So what happens here is the treble and the bass work all the time, these two. And then you've got preset jazz tonal balance, preset orchestra tonal balance, and you've got this middle one which allows you then to change the mid-range of the two. We've then also got the ferrite antenna, which only applies really for the medium wave and long wave, but that I'll show you in a minute. So that's FM. It sounds brilliant. This sounds really better than most of the modern receivers, which is really what my goal is when I restore these radios. And this one is definitely a keeper, definitely. Well, if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that my most common gripe about medium wave is that I get exactly one local channel and one Spanish channel. Well, let me show you something. That's the local station, and I'd expect another Spanish station somewhere over here, nothing else in between.
De perseguir un sueño en Estados Unidos desde el principio es algo falso.
Y 57 minutos de la tarde de este jueves 21 de diciembre.
Bueno, aquí se hizo una reforma de Radio Televisión Española a través de un proceso legislativo que era enormemente complejo. Estamos en el Senado en base a un acuerdo que alcanzamos con el PSOE. Los motivos son la mayoría y nosotros no lo hemos.
That's the other station I would get before.
Razonable. También había que preguntarse para qué hemos hecho esta reforma si al final volvemos. O sea, finalmente, ¿no?
And that, guys, is medium wave. And that's not just because of the radio, that's because of something else which I'll be describing again in the future. It's the new antenna that I put up called a mini whip. Right, let's look at long wave. I would get absolutely nothing on long wave here. Let's see what's changed with this antenna and this particular radio. That's one beacon. Another beacon. It's probably another beacon there.
متفرقة في باقي الجهات. بالنسبة لدرجات الحرارة 27 درجة بصفاقس، 29 بسوسة وبنزات، 30 درجة.
And at night I actually pick up a few more, and that, as I said, is solely because of the mini whip that I'm using and the fact that this thing has a very good receiving front end. Let's see what shortwave's got to offer. Again with the mini whip antenna.
La première, c'est qu'en France, en ce moment, il y a une volonté de repenser. For the soloist. Another speaker was в художественном творчестве, анимации, совместных подачах заявок на внесение в список всемирного наследия и по другим направлениям. From the scriptures to the followers and members of the Christian family. Sunday is the climax of it.
Yo he puesto el Neo 100 que sirve como
Really strong signals. That's about 41 meter band that we've been listening to.
Never Say Never Again. He also starred in Boxcar Bertha and Revenge of the Nerds.
thousands of people in Togo's major cities are once again calling for the country's president to go.
Let's try a bit further up. .31 meter band.
Entre guillemets maudits puisque ils étaient très à table au moment de la mort de
Approaching 25 meter band now.
Onde se trabalhava um aluguel parado de gradeiro simbólico nos anos.
C'était pas vraiment prévu à la base. Martina est arrivée sur l'album vraiment
Let's go further up.
It would be
This is 19 meter bands, about 15.5 megahertz.
More significance above that.
Most people tend to believe that
Con ese gol de Macedonia para uno.
highest reverberation was just a little bit over 3 seconds. Now, some cathedrals...
There we have it. Now, that is pretty amazing reception compared to what I'm used to, because I was using a long wire and I really didn't know that it could get any better till I tried the mini whip, and this radio seems to help quite a bit as well. It's worked out very well. I'm going to repeat this again. This one's definitely a keeper, and I know I say this for all the ones I restore, but hey, until I get another measure of esteem, I suppose that's the one I'll use. I'd like to thank you all for watching this series. It's been a long one. I had decided to do a more detailed series on restoration, which is what I tried to do with this radio. I think I may have chosen probably the wrong radio to do that, because this one did have a few quirks that most of the radios I restore don't have. But hey, bigger challenge, more fun, and you learn more as you go along. Well, thank you all for watching. If you enjoy this stuff, please share it, please subscribe, and come back and look for the next series that should be starting pretty soon. Bye for now.